So this video follows on from my previous video where I talk about why qualitative research in psychology is on shaky grounds here in Australia. And in that video, I ended by referring to the problem with Qualtrics. I kind of think it's the curse of Qualtrics. Well, in this video, I'll tell you all about that curse. With qualitative research becoming more popular in academic research in psychology here in Australia, largely because it's becoming much more widely used in the UK and the US, after it was included in the psychology undergraduate curriculum in those countries, we have been seeing more staff and students using Qualtrics as a research tool. Now, Qualtrics is a tool used primarily to run online surveys, and it's increasingly being used in academic research and seems to be quite a popular tool used by students when they are doing their first research projects, say as part of their honours degree. Now, you can have quantitative measures on the survey, but you can also have qualitative measures. So a question that asks the respondent to give a short written answer, which can then be qualitatively analysed. And you can do this with bespoke analytic tools in Qualtrics. So these surveys can be used for quantitative and qualitative research, but the tool's called Qualtrics, not Quantrics or Qualtrics. So what is it? What is it all about? Well, Qualtrics is the name of the company that owns the survey tool as well as the name of the tool. And the name is from the combination of the words quality and analytics. And quality was probably chosen as a word stem because quality assurance is a concept that originated in the business world, specifically in the manufacturing process. And Qualtrics, the company, has been mostly focused on providing tools for businesses. And the primary focus of the tool is for surveying business customers and the marketing of business products. And it was not, and largely still isn't, a tool focused on academic research, though it is increasingly being used in academia. It remains focused on the business and marketing worlds, and that perhaps might explain why Qualtrics incorporates qualitative and quantitative measures, because qualitative research has long been established in the fields of business and marketing. Indeed, many qualitative methods were developed from work undertaken in business and marketing, focus groups being a key example. Because Qualtrics is driven in its design by business needs and less so by academic needs, the notions of ontology and epistemology, those notions that capture what we consider to be the nature of reality and how we come to know that reality, those two concepts are more about the reality of and knowledge contained in the systems and components of the business where the survey is happening. It's really about those local management and governance structures. It's not about those broader philosophical notions that focus our attention on the knowledge systems available in large cultural spaces. And that's important to keep in mind when we're thinking about using Qualtrics in academic research, as Qualtrics is not grounded in the way we normally ground methods. And some would say it's more superficial, as it's barely grounded in anything other than the immediate corporate context from which the survey is run. Also, Qualtrics has a different set of drivers that have informed its design. These are the drivers common to business and corporate industry and are all about maximizing efficiency to maximize profitability. So Qualtrics is designed to get a business as much data and as quickly and simply as it can for the cheapest cost. And this is not the primary driver for academic research, as that's driven by the need to maintain fidelity between the method and the research question, such that your method is the best way of answering your research question. And academic research is ultimately done for broader public interests, whilst business-based research is ultimately done out of corporate self-interest. And these differences are important, at least they should be, when you're making a decision as to whether to use such a tool as Qualtrics to do your research. Academics and students might be using Qualtrics without thinking about this stuff. They might think that it's an established tool for collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. It appears to do a reasonable job with quantitative data because it delivers numbers and can run statistical analysis that's easily done by a computer. But things fall apart when it comes to how well it does qualitative research. The tool can deliver textual data, but it's really limited because it's a survey tool. Good surveys, at least in terms of the ones that people are happy to do, tend to only take around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And the average person can only type around 300 to 400 words in that time, once they've thought through their answer to the survey question. Now, the maximum word count for an open text answer to a question on Qualtrics is 20,000 characters, which is anywhere between 3,000 to 6,000 words. But that would typically take 2.5 hours to type out, a response that long. So you're not going to get respondents spending that much time completing a question on a survey in that way. So you're really only going to get 300 to 400 words from a typical survey that has qualitative questions. And also, you'll usually have somewhere between 6 or 7 open questions on a qualitative survey, if it was fully qualitative. So fully as in there's just qualitative questions, there's no quantitative questions. So if it's just qualitative questions, 6 or 7 questions in a survey, so that means you're on average getting maybe 50 to 60 words per answer. Now, as a comparison, 15 minutes of an interview, a qualitative interview, would give you around 1,500 to 2,000 words of spoken words. And a 1-hour interview would give you 5,000 to 8,000 words of spoken words. So surveys are very limited in how many words you get. But it's not just about the number of words. We're not just counting the words. That's not the measure of quality. It's the data you get from interviews is much richer typically, and it's often because you can dig deeper into the respondent's answer when you're in an interview, which, except for those surveys where they're done in person, you can't really do on a survey. Surveys are typically a one-way form of a communication. Surveys don't talk back to you, whereas interviewers do. But there's another problem that sits on top of that problem of not getting much data. And that's that it's the problem with the analysis, the qualitative analysis that Qualtrics does on your data. Qualtrics offers you a couple of qualitative analytic tools. So at least they say they do. And these are bespoke to Qualtrics. They're called Text IQ and Driver IQ. Driver IQ, it didn't look that qualitative to me. Looks a little bit more statistical. It seems more focused on numbers because it's described as a way of applying regression analysis to your data. And I just blank out any statistical terms. So I didn't look so much into that one. But Text IQ does appear to be the qualitative analytic tool used in Qualtrics because they describe it as a machine learning tool that uses native language processing to identify patterns and trends in the data. Now, here's what Qualtrics says about it. Using computational techniques helps you to avoid human errors, and participant results come in already incorporated into the analysis in real time. Our key tools, Text IQ and Driver IQ, make analyzing subjective and categorical data easy and simple. Choose to highlight key findings based on topic, sentiment, or frequency. The choice is yours. Now, first off, they use computational techniques to make the analysis quick and easy, and as they put it, to avoid human error. What they're essentially doing is attempting to remove the human from the analysis, or rather, what they're actually doing is hiding the human through using computer algorithms. those algorithms are coded by people, often several people, but you as a user of the analytic tools will never be able to trace whose fingerprints are on the code and therefore on the analysis. And you won't be able to figure out what human or humans were involved in producing your analysis. We know that there were some, but it's hard to tell who they are because they're buried under computer code. This thing is quite common. This thing about thinking that you can take the human out of the analysis and somehow it will be better. It's people think like that who come to qualitative research from a quantitative framework. What they're doing is they're failing to understand that the human involvement is what we call subjectivity in qualitative research. It's not just that it's valued in qualitative research, it's actually seen as essential. It's the thing that you use to make analysis possible. We make sense of the world by drawing on our experience of living in the world. Once you seek either to remove that human element, that subjectivity, or to hide it, the research becomes either meaningless or indecipherable. The problems with the qualitative in Qualtrics becomes more and more obvious the more you read from their website. So here they're giving us advice on how to conduct good quality qualitative research. And you can see here how they focus on frequency counts, counting how many people say particular things and how many times they say a particular thing, and on hypothesis testing, and on the manipulation of variables. These are the things you do in quantitative research, or in that wonky version of qualitative research referred to as small q qualitative research. Poor quality qualitative research. It's poor quality because it's stuck in that quantitative framework. And you can see this also in another part of the website where you have listed what are reported as the disadvantages of using qualitative research. And again, it refers to hypothesis testing, and now it refers to bias and validity. They're looking at qualitative research through a quantitative lens. And this is the curse of Qualtrics. We find more and more researchers in psychology turning to Qualtrics, finding that it can do qualitative data collection and analysis, and then they make use of that, and they claim that they're doing qualitative research, when actually nothing could be further from the truth. And for me, it's become a daily struggle, having to push back on the claims by researchers using Qualtrics that they're engaged in qualitative research, and that using Qualtrics somehow gives them experience that they need not only to do qualitative research, but also to teach it and to assess it. Now, a key thing here that I haven't really got into because it would make this video a really long video, is that those analytic tools that Qualtrics uses for qualitative analysis, they're actually AI tools. They're just craftily calling them intelligence in another way. Can you spot that? And this is the real impending disaster for qualitative researchers, students, and academics who think that AI can do qualitative analysis for them. It can't. And maybe I should make another video on that. If you'd like me to, let me know. Anyway, I better stop this one. It's gone on way too long. So, till next time. Ta-da.